Hello everybody and welcome to another video. Today I'm going to be reviewing a deck that honestly I didn't know about until very recently, with all credits going to pegasusfantasycards for making them. I really do love the cards that they make. They're good quality despite them being not tournament legal, but you know, they're just the same as a regular Yu-Gi-Oh card, you know, with the backing being the same and the text being the proper size. The only difference is that this doesn't sparkle down here like it does with a normal Yu-Gi-Oh card, but, you know, I still find them to be very, very good quality, and I highly recommend these cards if you're interested in cards that haven't been printed and cards that were from the show. So let's get into Eve's deck from the Yu-Gi-Oh! Arc 5 manga. So Eve has 3 boss monsters in the extra deck, and I really do like how he used the manga artwork. It looks very nice. So this card needs 3 fusion monsters. It doesn't say so on the card, but that's just an oversight by pegasusfantasycards. It's not a huge deal, because you can always look to the actual card for that requirement that you need. So Phantasm Emperor Trilogig, level 10, 4,000 attack, 4,000 defense. Very nice. You know I like the Time Lord cards quite a bit, so Time Lord Progenitor Vorpgate. This artwork is much different than the stuff that they have in the regular TCG and OCG. Just like Time Lords can't be destroyed by battle or card effects, and has a banishing effect that no other Time Lord has, so it's quite nice. You need, I believe it is 2 non-tuners and a tuner monster to make this card. Now, number XX Infinity Dark Hope. This card needs 3 level 10 monsters, and it retains the effect that all number monsters should have gotten cannot be destroyed by battle except with number monsters. So it needs to be another number card, which I appreciate him adding in that extra detail that usually the anime only has. So it's very nice to see that. And these 3 cards combo together quite well, because Time Lord Progenitor Vorpgate banishes all the monsters your opponent controls for a turn, and then these 2 can whittle the life points down to 0 with a whopping 8,000 altogether, not to mention the effects they have on top of that. So that's very nice. Next, we have a prismatic rare, I believe, Genesis Omega Dragon, along with 2 normals. We'll look at the common rarity so that way you guys can read it. But this card is 12 on the pendulum scale, a level 10 Dark Dragon Pendulum effect monster. It does have flavor text. It says, across time and space exists a force so powerful it is said to decide the fate of the world. Whomever wields this card will destroy everything. Behold the power of the god. I do like the flavor text, and it even has Genesis Omega Dragon's effect up here, but that's another oversight by pegasusfantasycards because the effect should be down here, which isn't a huge deal because these are just fun cards. They're not meant to be played in a serious way, so if your opponent can look up on that stuff, and if you guys are both fond of the manga and or anime, you guys can always do that sort of thing, so that way there is no confusion and the game can be played how you both see fit. Next, we have 3 copies of Mystic Heaven Gate. So this is a light monster, level 1 normal, and it is a rock type. When there are no monsters on your field, destroy all spell and trap cards in your opponent's pendulum zone and special summon a monster from your hand. This is a Harpy's Feather Duster type effect and can be quite good, especially when there's a trap or spell heavy deck you're going up against. Very nice, very good, and I love the artwork. It's so well done and it looks so authentic. Now we have Mystic Hellgate, a very good card for this deck. When there are no monsters on your field, destroy all cards in your pendulum zones and special summon a pendulum monster from your hand. You're supposed to use this in tandem with Mystic Heaven Gate to special summon Genesis Omega Dragon, because his effect relies on you having no cards in your pendulum zones, so that way he can negate spell effects, trap effects, monster effects, and even attacks, and then end your opponent's turn. Nova Portal is meant to be used with Genesis Omega Dragon's effect by placing both of them in the pendulum zones via that effect. So that way, when your opponent activates a monster effect, you can destroy both of these in your pendulum zones and end their turn. Really broken, especially if you're going up against a meta deck where they all use monster effects for most of their plays. So it can be very nice, and it can end your opponent's turn on the spot. Next we have Mystic Factor Caspar. One of them is a little bit more shiny than the other. So Mystic Factor Caspar is a tuner monster and a level 10. Once per turn you can decrease this card's level by 2, and if you do, the level of other monsters you control becomes 1. This is useful because it lets you make all other Mystic Factor monsters you control become level 1, and then this card becomes level 8, meaning you can synchro summon Time Lord Progenitor Vorpgate with Caspar along with the other two, which is very nice, and they all combo together really well. So let's get into the other Mystic Factor monsters that it'll be comboing with. So we have Mystic Factor Melchior. Now, once per turn, you can fusion summon one fusion monster using monsters you control as fusion material, including this card. So you can use this with your other two Mystic Factor cards to get out Phantasm, Emperor, Trilogig, and you won't have any tribute material, but that won't be an issue since this is such a pendulum-heavy deck. Next is the key combo piece to your extra deck plays is Mystic Factor Balthazar. Now, Balthazar, once per turn, when it's sent to the graveyard as material for a fusion summon, you can pay half your life points and special summon the monsters used for that fusion summon, including this card. And if this card was sent to the graveyard as material for a synchro summon, you can pay half your life points to special summon all cards used for the synchro summon. So this card can allow you to summon all 3 extra deck monsters in the same turn if you have one of each on the field, which is truly a truly powerful card when it comes to this deck. And I think they should definitely make this in the real card game, because it wouldn't be all that broken, all things considered, especially since link summoning is such a prominent summoning method that this deck would be very, very nice just for fun duels in real life. And who knows, maybe it could be a rogue strategy if they made Genesis Omega Dragon. So those are the key combo pieces for that. Here we have Monster Reborn with a lovely alternative art with a golden background. Target one monster in either graveyard, special summon it. I'm pretty sure I've never seen a card art like this one. I believe I've only seen Monster Reborn with the blue symbol on in the picture, but this one's gold, and I do appreciate that. Regardless of if I'm misremembering or not, I do love how this looks versus the regular Monster Reborn symbol on the card art. Next we have Raigeki. Very simple. Destroy all monsters your opponent controls. Helps you gain the upper hand real quick. So, yep, that's good. That's good. Now, I replaced one of the old cards in the deck with this card because I gave it to somebody. It was Harpy's Feather Duster. So not only would you normally have a Harpy's Feather Duster, but you'd have a Raigeki too, and a Monster Reborn, which are 3 key staples in a lot of old decks, and even some of the newer decks, and cards that have been historically on the banned list, which is really interesting. Next, we have 3 copies of Pendulum Treasure. So what this will do is it'll add a Pendulum monster from your deck face up in your extra deck. So you can only activate one of these per turn, but you can put Genesis Omega Dragon in your extra deck, so that way you can summon it from there. And yeah, this card is really easy for getting your boss monster out, especially if you plan on pendulum summoning a lot, which you will if you have this deck. So very nice. Now here's a card that they definitely need to add into the game. Dual Colored Eyes. 3 copies of them. One of them is shinier than the other. I believe it's an ultra rare. Add a pendulum monster to the extra deck, draw 2 cards. Now, it doesn't mean from the deck, it means specifically from the hand, so if they added this into the regular card game, it wouldn't be too broken, especially since no one uses pendulum monsters nowadays, so they definitely should add this to offer consistency to pendulum decks, even though they're really good. But if they added this, I do believe that pendulum decks could be a lot more useful, despite a lot of their combo pieces being on the banned and limited list. Now we have Amazing Pendulum, and I do believe that he changed the original effect to accommodate for this deck. So if you have no cards in your pendulum zones, you can add 2 face-up pendulum monsters from your extra deck to your hand. Now this card normally only lets you add 2 magician cards, but it does offer any 2 face-up pendulum monsters from your extra deck, regardless of if they have magician in the name or not, which is amazing for this deck, really. Oh, now we have Roll of Fate, a card that should never be printed, especially since it's upgraded 6th Sense. Roll a 6-sided die. Draw cards equal to the result, then remove an equal number of cards from the top of your deck from play. So basically, you just roll a die, and then draw cards equal to the roll. It is literally all benefit, because banishing cards in the real-world card game is not that much of a detriment when you can get your combo pieces, which is kind of how this deck operates, is finding your combo pieces as soon as possible and laying waste to your opponent's field. So this card, really good. They should never make this card in the real card game. Summoner's Art, good for finding your Mystic Hellgate, because it allows you to add a level 5 or higher normal monster from your deck to your hand, and I don't think it would work for Genesis Omega Dragon, despite it having flavor text versus an actual effect, because it's not supposed to. It's just there to add a little bit more pizzazz to the card. Now we have Recurring Nightmare, which is the final card on this list, which is very good for getting your Mystic Factor monsters back if they were destroyed, because you can target 2 dark monsters with 0 defense in your graveyard, add those targets to your hand. Very good for getting your combo pieces back, whether it be Mystic Hellgate or the Mystic Factor monsters. So that is Eve's deck from the Yu-Gi-Oh! Arc 5 manga. I highly recommend getting this deck if you like collecting those cards, because I certainly do, regardless of if I read the manga or watched that specific piece of the anime. I do love the cards, especially since he puts so much care and thought into them. But for the next video, I'm going to do a deck that is strictly tournament legal. So that way, it's not just me rambling on about cards that you guys can't actually use in most settings. So the next one I'll be doing is Yugimoto's deck from Dark Side of Dimensions, one that I custom made myself, and I'm really looking forward to it. Have a great day.